I want to share a story I heard from Simon Sinek that I think directly applies if you're in a mixed faith marriage. And he was talking about being honest in a relationship and honest and real, and how to do that when there are hard truths or hard things to communicate. Story he shares about going to a play of a friend, and the play was terrible. After the play, he went out and she was full makeup, full of adrenaline, and she's like, "What did you think of the play?" Now, in that moment, he of course wanted to be honest. We want to be honest. We want to be truthful with people we're in a relationship with. And instead of telling her the play was terrible and a critical disaster, he said, "I really enjoyed seeing you on stage, and I enjoyed seeing you. I've never seen you on stage before, and it was important for me to see that." Okay, a totally truthful answer, and also one that was, appropriate to the situation. He read the room, he used good judgment. And I think we can do this a lot in our mixed faith marriages. And by the way, a few days later, things had calmed down. He had reached out to her, had a conversation, and said, "Do you really want to know what I felt about the play? There's some things I'd like to talk to you about." And they were then able to have a real discussion about the actual play. How this applies to a mixed faith marriage is a lot of times we want to have that discussion about the play ASAP, right now, from the get-go. And sometimes we don't do it in the most constructive, helpful way. Our spouse may be just coming back from church, right? It's the same as if they're in full makeup getting off the stage. Our spouse may be just coming back from the temple, or just coming back from a youth activity or something like that. And then we want to jump in and dissect the play. And this may be a really good time to, yes, be honest, but also be smart and kind. And this might be a good time to say, "I'm really glad you have a community that you love. I'm really glad that you find peace and joy in attending church and going to these activities." If it's honest. For me, that would be honest, and that's something I could say in those moments that I would call getting off the stage moments. And then later, when things aren't quite so escalated or sensitive, I could then reach out and have that deeper, that phase 2 conversation, where I might say, "Hey, do you have some time to talk about some concerns I have about the church, or some questions I have, or some things I've come across that I'd like to discuss with you?" And it can be a really great tool to just recognize the difference when we're talking about coming off the stage and talking about the play versus a few days later having a really open, honest conversation about it. Okay, this is Brooke Booth, a life coach for Mormons in a mixed faith marriage.